Here's a tutorial on how I upcycled this band tee into a tank top. I actually hacked the Becky pattern from Retro Sparkle Designs. The back on the actual pattern is a tie back and I wanted a solid back. So I still continued to cut out everything on that pattern except for the ties. And then instead of the ties, I took the triangle piece from the front piece and folded it in half. And that's what I'm using for the back piece. And I'm still cutting on the fold just like I would with the front piece. And then with the rest of the shirt, I'm going to cut out 4 straps. Cut out a front and back piece with your lining. You don't need to cut out straps because those get folded over on themselves. And I'm just using my regular sewing machine, not my serger for this. I'm using a zigzag stitch. So all the way down the length of the strap and then the edge of one side. And then you do that 4 times for each one of the straps. Go ahead and turn the straps right side out. I'm just using this metal reusable skewer. And then I forgot to mark where the straps should go. So if you look at the pattern, there's little notches that'll tell you where to put the straps. So go ahead and mark those on the front and back pieces as well as the lining pieces. So now we're going to sew the main front piece to the main back piece right sides together. And then when you're finished sewing right sides together, you should have what it looks like the shirt. So both side seams are sewn together and then it's just like one big circle. And then you do the same thing with the lining piece. Now we're going to put the main piece inside the lining piece. So the main piece is right sides out and then the lining piece is, you're going to have the wrong side facing out. So then the right sides are facing together from the lining piece and the main shirt. And then you find where we marked where the straps should go. And we're going to put the straps in between the lining piece and the main piece for all 4 straps. And now I'm just going to sew around that circle, the top seam where the straps are going to be. I'm just using a 1/2 inch seam allowance with a zigzag stitch all the way around. When you're done sewing that, you should be able to flip the lining piece the correct way on the inside of the shirt and then see the straps. And the strap should all be secure now. Okay, this is where things can get a little bit confusing. We're going to be doing the burrito method. So you lay the shirt flat with the outer fabric and the lining pieces positioned where they belong. And then you're going to take the main fabric and roll it around to the opposite side until you meet the lining piece. It's going to seem like everything is kind of tangled together, but that's actually what you want because when you flip it inside out when you're done sewing, then everything's going to be facing the correct way. Let me know if you want a more detailed explanation. So I'm going to use my just like straight pins and I'm going to pin everything and then you kind of pull it out of where it feels like it's tangled up and then continue pinning everything along the way. It sort of feels like an endless loop where you pull some of the fabric and pin it and then pull some more and pin it and then it like kind of continues like a loop. And then you just take that over to your machine. It's kind of a little bit tricky to sew this part, so just make sure that the lining and the main piece are what you're sewing and then the other part of it's kind of out of the way. So you're sewing part of it and then you're going to pull it out from like the endless loop and then continue to sew and pull and sew and pull until you leave just about like an inch open at the bottom. That way we can turn everything right sides out. Okay, so now I'm just sticking my hand in the spot that I left open and pulling everything to start facing right sides out. I guess it should be a little bit bigger than an inch, maybe about like 2 to 3 inches, depending on how thick or thin your fabric is. At this point, it should really start resembling the tank top. And then here at the end, whatever you left open, you can go ahead and top stitch that. I don't really always top stitch the entire thing. I kind of prefer how it looks without top stitching all the way around. So that's up to your personal preference. You can also do like a ladder stitch where you left open if you don't want to top stitch the entire thing. That's basically it. So let me know if you have any questions or if there's any other sewing projects you would like to see from me. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye.